Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. As you can see here, this isn't going to be like anything else. It's not going to be like an informative video. It's purely going to be opinion based, completely subjective on my part. This is in no way a thing for people to use to go like, hey, here's proof that this person sucks. You know, this is purely going to be just my opinions. And what it's going to be is where I believe each wrestler in Stardom ranks on the tier list. See here, I have S, A, B, C, D, and F. Now, which each of these are going to mean is S is going to be wrestlers who have either peaked, like their amazing wrestling ability. You know, they're not going to get any better most likely, but they've already like gotten to a point where they're legends. You know, like that's the ability that they're at. Or people who are really amazing at wrestling but have a lot of potential to get way better. You know what I mean? You'll see what I mean by that later on. A are going to be people who are really good at wrestling, can put on amazing matches, but just don't really, I feel like, are ever going to be on top. So as you can tell, this is going to be kind of a mixture of ability slash card placement slash behind the scenes politicking type thing here. It's category right here doesn't mean that they'll never get like a main belt. It just means that I don't think they're ever going to be Stardom's star, even though they sometimes have the same ability as the people in S. B are going to be those, you know, the top of the mid card, the people who can put on good matches, have good, you know, personalities and or promo skills, are just, but like aren't ready to be in that top card yet, aren't ready to be in those main events. C is going to be the, you know, the fodder of the mid card, the people who, you know, are pretty decent at wrestling. They're not good, but they're not bad. They're definitely not ready to kind of be dominant towards people, in my opinion. Like I said, this is going to be some weird rationalizations here because, like I said, I'm going off just my own opinion plus what they have them on the card as, you know, so it's not going to be, I just think a lot of people are probably going to disagree with some of this. And then next we have D, and this is going to be the top of the low card, essentially. This is going to be those that the only people they beat are the people who are literally at the bottom of the totem pole. And then F, of course, is going to be those people that I feel like have either no future, no promise to them, or they're just too young or something, and there's no one above them on the totem pole. Now, as you can see, I have down here every signed wrestler, plus I have a couple non-signed wrestlers, which isn't very common for my videos. Now, the reason for that is it really wouldn't make sense to do this unless I had main players in here, and some of the main players aren't signed in Stardom. So as you can see, I have right here Jamie in here because she's here a lot, Death right here, Micah, Samire, Riho. Even though Riho is really not that much of a mainstay as people thought she was going to be, especially with this whole AEW thing. And then I have Shitty here. So they're in alphabetical order here because that's just how I have things listed in my computer when I was making these. And if you guys want to come make out your own tier list, I believe it's going to be on Tier Maker. I'm not entirely sure though, because I made this one myself. There were other ones, but they still had people like Leo in there, or Kagetsu, or, you know, Bobby and Zoe, and I just wanted to, you know, do my own. So I do want to start with who I think is going to be the bottom of the bottom though, which shouldn't be of any surprise to people. I'm gonna put Hina here, of course. As much as I like her, you know, and as much as she's improved, the only people she beats are the other people that I'm going to be putting in F tier. There's really no one lower than these people, and Hina's just one of them. And with that said, I need to put her sister here. And that's, these two, I feel like they have a lot of promise, right? I think they have a lot of promise, but I don't believe they are anywhere near ready to be anywhere but F. But I think they have a lot of promise, and that's important to note because the next person I'm going to put here in this tier, Ruka, I'm putting her here because I don't think she has a lot of promise. If you have been watching my videos since the beginning, or, you know, follow me or, you know, talk to me sometimes, you'll know that I actually had a lot of expectations for Ruka about like a year or so ago, but she has kind of completely written off wrestling in my opinion. It just doesn't seem like she's trying at all anymore, and I just lost faith in her. I'm willing to be proven wrong by her. Like if she comes back with a vengeance one day and she just starts doing better and improving, but it just doesn't feel like this is the type of job for her. Like it's not right for her. Let's go with Jamie. So Jamie's gonna be a tough one because I think I'm gonna put her as an A. It's not because her abilities aren't there. Like I said, most people who get put in A are going to be at least or around the same skill level as the people in S. The only difference is I just don't think Stardom is ever going to put them on top. Now, if this was purely based on what I think of them as wrestlers, I would say she would be an S because she, you know, this is kind of harsh to say, but a lot of people call B, you know, like the knockoff Jamie, you know, like, because Jamie has the skills in the ring, she has the viciousness, she has the power, she also, though, has the charisma and mic skills to put her above a lot of the other foreigners. She's by far, in my opinion, the best foreigner Stardom has, but I just don't think they're going to back her as much as they backed B. I just don't know if that's because Jamie's not willing to move there or something or what, but all I know is that they're never going to put her on top unless she signs, and I just don't see that happening because I feel like if that was going to happen, that would have happened by now. So with that said, I'm going to have to put B in... Oh, man, this is tough. Because she's very skilled, but there's still, like, some improvements here needed here or there. I don't think she's reached the level of... I'm going to put her in A because I don't think she's reached the level of S yet. Like, I don't think she's top star quality yet, but she's very close. And that's not just because I hate her guts, like, with a fury right now. I really think that there's some things she needs to improve on before she deserves that S ranking. All right, next here I see on this list, let's just go with, you know, let's just knock out all of the non-signed people. That'll be easy. So Riho, this one's probably going to get me a lot of hate because I know a lot of people want me to put her in S, and then there are other people who want me to put her down in like D, but I don't think either one is very correct. I'm going to put her... It's tough. I think I'm going to put her in B. Mostly because I kind of want to put her in C, but I feel like it's not right to. And that's not anything that I'm going to be able to explain, unfortunately. That's just kind of like a gut feeling here. I want to put her in C, but for some reason, like my gut is telling me don't put her in C, put her in B. Now, as you guys know, I'm not like a huge fan of Riho. I mean, I like her. I like her as a wrestler. I like her look. You know, I think she's got a really good look. I think her fundamentals are amazing. She's very, very good at those. Her bumping and selling is very good when, you know, she does it well, which, you know, makes kind of sound stupid. Of course, you know, they look good when they're done well, but the problem is in Stardom, it kind of feels like one of two things is going on. Either one, she's not really putting her all into it because it's not really her main project and her main project is AEW, or she's getting the non-signed champion role that Stardom kind of does. Whenever someone who's like a main champion of another promotion comes over, they don't really have them do too much in the promotion to protect them and protect their own wrestlers. It kind of started around when Tony held the NXT like UK Women's Champion or whatever it's called. Riho just doesn't do too much in Stardom, and it's nothing she has done has been any kind of impressive at all. Her weaks or her hits are pretty weak. Her moves do not fit her body and or what she can bring to the ring at all. I think there's just a lot of things that she could change to make it better. Now, that's not to say she can't put on bangers of matches, because I have seen matches where she's done really good. She just hasn't done any of that in Stardom. And that is why I can't put her in an A, but I feel like she's good enough to not fall in C. All right, who do we have here? Death. Death is interesting because I'm going off of kind of breaks apart. Because if we're going off of just like her as a wrestler, I would have to put her in either S or A, right? But if we're going off of their standing in Stardom, I would have to put them in B. But the problem is let's go right in the middle and let's put her in A. Now, I know this is going to seem crazy, but it's obvious that her skill level is at a point where she's in the top card, right? She's in the top class of Stardom. She's very, very good at everything she does. And with her new character, it's clear that they like her new character and they're willing to push her new character, because before she became Death Yama-san, she was being pinned by Starlight Kid. Yes, she got pinned by Starlight Kid back when she was Kaori Yoneyama wrestling for Stardom. I mean, not wrestling for Stardom, but wrestling in Stardom as Kaori Yoneyama. When she joined TCS and got this new character, she kind of became this catch-all wrestler where they made her in the spot where if they needed a top person to be pinned, but not have it mean anything really, they had her do it. But if they needed someone lower on the card to pin someone and have them, have it mean kind of something, she would do that as well. She's just kind of all around protected, but then like can lose to people lower than her if it fits the new person's push. So I have to put her in an A here for all that she's done in Stardom and her skill ability. Who else here? Samire. Samire's very clearly a C. She's the gatekeeper of the mid card. I always say that once people start getting singles wins over Samire, that means that they're being moved up to the mid card. It happened with Starlight Kid, it happened with Azumi, although I don't know if Starlight Kid has ever pinned Samire in a singles match. I think it might have happened not too long ago, but I know Azumi has. Her skill level isn't really anything to go crazy about. When she gets serious, she's actually a decent wrestler. Don't get me wrong, she's actually a decent wrestler, but she's nowhere near these guys' levels. Skill alone, she doesn't deserve anything above a C, and the fact that that's pretty much where I see her in the company is a C. Alright, I think that, Micah? Micah I haven't seen too much of, so I'm going to have to put her in a B right now, just because while she still has a lot to work on her skills are actually very good. She's nowhere near top, but I could put her in the top of the mid card and have no problem saying that. And then we have Shuri, which is clearly an S, based on pretty much every single aspect of her charisma, promos, her wrestling ability, her look, and then her dominance in Stardom. Everything about her is top. Now, just because she's an S, it doesn't mean I'm saying that they're going to be putting the red or white belt on her. That's not what this means. This just means that she is above everyone else using all of the things that I'm using. Stardom standing, wrestling ability, card placement, all of that. I'm considering everything. A lot like my other video where I rated everyone based on overallness. This is kind of how the same thing. Like, this is a quicker version of that, even though the video is looking like it's not going to be much shorter. Alright, I think that's all of the non-signed wrestlers here. Okay, so we can go back to the signed wrestlers, which I'm going to have a lot more of a knowledge on. I'm going to go with Hannah next. I'm going to have to put her here. She's the first of the top of the low card. She can beat pretty much everyone in the F card, but that is it. Now, this might be controversial putting her here because she isn't hasn't like wrestled in like a year, but when she left, this is where she was, and how much these guys improved, they're still not at her level that she was at when she left. So this is where I'm going to have to put her now. When she makes her comeback, she could rise or fall here depending on what they want to do with her, because I believe she's like 14 or 15 now. Just expect these guys to all stay in this relative area for a while. Let's move on to Saya Ida. Now, Saya Ida is a very, very interesting one because her skill level alone, I would put her probably in a D. But when I'm taking everything into account, I would have to say she's probably in... No, yeah, I'm going to have to put her in a D because her skill level places her in a D in my opinion. Her placement on the card in Stardom puts her in a D as well. I don't think they're going to have her beating anybody I put in C for at least not until a little bit into the future. She has very upped her viciousness, and they're obviously backing her a lot with this whole new like Gori-chan thing that they're doing. So I would expect it's really hard because I would actually place her like right in the middle here. I would place her in between C and D. Like she'd be a C- or a D+ or something like that. But I have to place her somewhere, and it doesn't feel right. I'm using my gut again, putting her right next to Sumire when I feel like that's not where they have her yet. And then based on just skill alone, she's pretty much right here at the top of D, almost teetering over into C. All right, let's move on to, let's see here. Let's go with Itsuki. Now, Itsuki Hoshino, it's interesting. I'm going to have to put her in D as well. I can't see her losing to anybody below her, but I don't think she's anywhere near ready to put her up here in C yet. She has a lot of potential, but she has a lot of stuff to work on. Like her charisma is a little off. It's very great, but it's a little off. And her wrestling ability is very, very weak at this point, but it's weak in a way that you can tell that she's going to get much better. Next, we have Saya Kamitani, and I'm going to have to throw her in C, which is obvious if you've been watching. She's clearly being pushed a lot more than all of the other rookies, and for very good reason. She's clearly a better wrestler than all of the other rookies are at this point. She's also has the better look, the better charisma, the better promos. She's just kind of killing it in all aspects right now, and the fact that she is better than pretty much everyone below her makes it an easy choice to put her in C. Now, I don't think that she's ready to be compared with the people in B and above yet. That's why she's kind of has to default to C, because she's clearly above everyone here, but she's clearly below everyone here. Let's move on to, let's go with Utami Hayashishita. Now, Utami is an interesting one because this might actually get me some flack, but I'm going to have to put her in B as well. She's got everything that she needs to be an A or an S, but it's just like just not enough. It's almost there. She can very easily go up to A very, very quickly. And I think that is probably going to happen with her first white belt run. I just don't think she's there yet. The thing that she's really missing is experience. You can tell that in all of her like quote unquote amazing matches that she's had, it's with people who are very good at carrying people to matches. So I just can't give her anything above a B, unfortunately. Next we'll go with Hana Kimura. Hana Kimura is an interesting one. I'm gonna have to put her in... This is very, very tough because I kind of want to put her in both A and B. B mainly just on like wrestling ability and all that, but when you factor in everything about her, she kind of has to go to A here. She's, in my opinion, if I wasn't taking into account like Stardom's opinion of these wrestlers, I would put her in B. But because it's so clear that they have her risen above what I believe she needs to be, I have to put her in an A because, like, if we're just taking, like, charisma and mic work and all of that stuff, then yeah, she's definitely an A. But her wrestling ability isn't anything that amazing, which is kind of sad because she kills it in every other aspect. Hopefully she can improve on that quite a bit here. I've already seen a lot of improvement, but we'll just have to see because I can't see her being anything other than an A or a B. And with how much Stardom pushes her or like places her somewhere, it has to be an A. Next we have Saki Kashima. This one, definitely have to put her in an A as well, just because her wrestling ability is really, really good. Like, she's a really, really good wrestler, right? Her charisma and promo was always kind of bland, but lately in Odo Tai, she's actually been doing really good. She had this whole storyline with Mayu, and it was actually very engaging, and you kind of felt a little sympathetic for both people, and you kind of felt like you understood the perspectives of both people, and that, in my opinion, makes Saki easily an A. I don't think she'll never be an S, probably, in my opinion, but she's definitely an A right now. Let's go with Natsuko Tora. Natsuko Tora, I'm going to have to put in a B, unfortunately. Even though you guys know I kind of like Natsuko Tora again. Her wrestling ability isn't anything too great. It's pretty good. Like, she's a good wrestler, don't get me wrong. She's a good wrestler, but she's not anything too great. But she's very split right now, and I can't tell if Stardom is trying to make her like the next top figure of Odo Tai, or if they're trying to just make her a somewhat of a threat for her to kind of lose to the people they actually want to be on top. So putting her in the top of the mid card feels perfect. Out of everyone I put on here, I believe she is kind of the top of them right now. Although I can't see them having her beat Riho, but that's more like plot armor kind of stuff. Next, we're going to go with Jungle Kiona. Jungle Kiona is an A, without a doubt. She is the go-to. I want to have an amazing match, but I don't want them to go over person. That's exactly who she is. She's the eternal underdog, the I will always cheer for you person. And that's never going to change, unfortunately. Her wrestling ability is up there with the people in S, but she's just never going to get that oomph. Next, we have Tam Nakano. Right now, I'm going to have to put her in an S. You can call me biased all you want. It's perfectly fine. I admit that I am somewhat biased. The reason why I have to put her in an S, though, is not because I think they're going to, like, make her the next new top person or anything like that. I think she has a white belt run in her future. I just don't know when they're going to pull that. It kind of seems like a really weird place for them. I don't know if they're going to actually pull the trigger on that or not. She might be just another jungle, but the way that they count on her with everything is clear that they have a very high standing of Tam, and her wrestling ability is with the top people, in my opinion, and her charisma, promos, and storytelling are top-notch, unmatched by anyone in Stardom. She is the top person in that aspect. So it's very clear that I'm putting her in S, and you guys know why. Next, with Konami. Konami is an A. She's kind of like Saki, in my opinion, or like, you know what? She's not really like Saki. She's the only thing right now keeping her from an S, I think, is a single belt run. She has all of the abilities of an S. She's gotten a lot more charismatic and enjoyable to watch outside of just wrestling. She is very much an S in pretty much all aspects, except I don't think they're going to give Konami a singles belt run, at least not short term from now. It might happen in the future, but I don't think it's going to happen in like the next year or two. And I think that's because they don't really see her as a top person right now. They see her as we can get amazing matches out of her person. Let's go with here. This first person I just saw, Starlight Kid. Now this one is going to be very, very interesting because hers is going to be where I think they are placing her more than where I think her skill level is. And really, to be honest, I think they're placing her. If I had to choose, I would say in between B and C, but I think right now they have her as a C, which is kind of weird, but if you really think about it, Azumi has had way more of an upward advancement lately than Starlight. Starlight kind of got to C faster than Azumi, but I don't think Azumi or Starlight, like once she reached C, she just kind of like stopped, and she's been there until now. And I don't know what they're planning on doing with her, because it was clear that they weren't going to have her win the high-speed tournament, because I went over all of the possible scenarios, and it was like very, very, very unlikely for her to even make it to the finals, let alone win him. So I didn't think they were going to do that, which is interesting. And then they didn't even put her in the Cinderella tournament originally. She was one of the replacements, which is odd. So I think they're kind of looking at her right now as someone who they don't need to really push, because it doesn't matter where her standing in the promotion is right now. She's going to sell a bunch of merch anyway. So like I said, based on how I feel about her personally, not factoring in Stardom at all, I would put her probably in between B and C, but I'd still think I'd throw her in a C. So with her there, I'm going to have to put Azumi, unfortunately, in a C as well. Now, it took her a lot longer to get to C than Starlight Kid, but you know what? No, I'm going to throw her up in the B. Now, the reason why I decided to make that change is because I forgot about the 5-star. I mean, I didn't forget about it, but I wasn't really taking it into account, because who you beat in the 5-star or like tournaments, it really doesn't determine your placement on the card. But it kind of seems like ever since the 5-star, she's had this higher standing, and she took longer to get to C than Starlight Kid, but I think once she reached C, she skyrocketed past her and kept growing, whereas Starlight's kind of stagnated. So she's definitely here. If I was going like skills wise, I think I would still put her in a B, kind of like halfway in between A and B. She's very, 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 very good, but she's still very rough around the edges, and she tries things before she's fully ready. And so I just don't think she deserves an A right now, but I think she's definitely one of the like B in terming everything. Now, obviously, if I'm going, by my overall video, I still believe that she's in the top 3. I think she was top 4, because it was Kagetsu, Mayu were tied for first, and then third was Tam, and then fourth was Azumi, but Kagetsu left. So yeah, Azumi would still, in my opinion, probably be around 4 or third. She might drop here or there, because Momo or whatnot have gotten quite a lot better, but I think in the end of the day, she's still like in my top 3 in terms of overall. But when I'm taking in like everything, like Stardom standing and all of that, or I think she's in a B right now in terms of card placement. Next we have Momo Watanabe. Momo's going to be very tough. I'm going to have to put her in a C, just because I don't think they've abandoned her like some people feel they have. I think she's just on a down right now. Like, she's being cooled off a little bit. Other people are getting their time to shine. But she's there with the skills. She's there with the support of the company, and she's there in promos, charisma, storytelling, all of that. She's amazing already at 20. Just imagine how she's going to be in 5 years. You know what I mean? Next we have Arisa Hoshiki. I'm going to put her in an A. She's very, very good wrestler. She's one of the top, in my opinion, in pretty much everything, but she's still rough around the edges in a lot of aspects, like when it comes to wrestling, the wrestling part itself. And I just don't think she deserves to be in the S when the people who are an S are so clearly better than her. It like she would be almost like towards the top of A. She'd be like right above the A instead of being, just being in A. She'd be almost to S, but I just don't think she should be there right now. Next we have Julia. Julia's going to an A as well, which is probably going to get me some flack. It's like, oh my god, you're being so biased. Yeah, I have not made it secret that my love for Julia has made me a little biased in some aspects, but I think she's an A. Not because of wrestling ability. If I was going just wrestling ability, I think I'd put her down in B right now. She's very clunky in some aspects. She has a lot to learn, but I think she has an amazing potential, and she has this character or this presence that no one else in Stardom has. It's like this, like her nickname perfectly captures her. Beautiful Madness. She's like really hot, so you got that aspect going for her, but then she's like really weird, which it's really fun to watch. It's really fun to watch her do things that other people would just do normally, but she's like awkward or weird about it. It's very, very interesting, and I think that's something that could help her get to the top. I think once she gets this white belt, which I think she's going to, I think she has potential by the end of the white belt run to maybe be in an S. Definitely not because of wrestling ability, but it just depends on how much she's improved. Because if she becomes a great wrestler by the end of her white belt run, I think I could put her in S. But if she's just got good and she's just a really good wrestler by the end of it, because right now she's just a good wrestler in my opinion, but if she becomes a really good wrestler by the end of it, she stays in A. If she becomes a great wrestler by the end of it, I could bump her up to S and not feel crazy about it. So last but not least is Mayu Iwatani, which of course is going to an S. Do we even have to consider this? She is one of the best wrestlers in the world right now. Not much can touch her. She's obviously one of the highest pushed people in Stardom. She is the icon, the new ace, I guess, technically. I don't know. It used to be Momo, but then they named her ace for that battle against Takumi Iroha. I don't know. That's for another video. Either way, she deserves to be an S, and there's no question about it. I don't think anybody will ever argue with me on that. Now, there are a lot here that I feel like people are going to argue with me about, like Julia for sure. I know a lot of people who want Arisa an S. I know a lot of people who considered Arisa the best wrestler last year. Which is crazy. I know some people who would think that Saki should be down here in B or C. I think there's some people who think Starlight Kid should be up in A. Riho should be an S. That's never going to happen. So there you go. That's my opinion based on everything, both on my opinion of them as a wrestler and all of their overallness, combined with how I think that Stardom sees them or where Stardom places them on the card. It's very confusing, and I'm sure no one really understands what the hell I'm talking about, because I don't even really know what I'm talking about. But there you go. Alright guys, so at the end, of course, I'm going to talk a little bit about my Patreons. Right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4 of them are in the shout out category. Since it's a new month, it's the first video of this month, I'm going to shout them out all again. I was thinking it was just going to be the first time they did it, but you know what? Screw it. It doesn't hurt me to shout out people again. First we have Solar. Apparently I was saying it wrong. It's not Solar. It's Solar, I guess. R is apparently not really a thing in how you say that. So then we have Smackdown Podcast, of course, which I was a guest of on recently, which was very fun to do. Justin Herenis. I'm trying to say it in a weird way that it doesn't sound like what they want me to say it, because we all know what it's saying, And then last but not least, we have, and he requested me to say it like this. the #1 Momo fan, K Master of None. So there you go. Those are all the people who are in the shout out tier. I did change some stuff for the Patreon. It's no longer just the 2 tiers, the $1 and $3. There's actually a 3rd tier now. I might add a 4th tier in the future, but the new tier is going to be $5, and you get everything in the earlier tiers. So you basically, you get the shout out, you get your name on the Patreon list at the end of the videos, but then you also get the ability to request a reaction video. You know how like those other reaction channels do the reaction things? If there's a video that you want me to react to, then I will do a reaction of it. It doesn't have to be wrestling related. It can be anything, as long as it's appropriate to be put on YouTube. So there you go. That's all I have to say about Patreon this time. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.